Hey, it's Kevin Yates of functionaltrainingcoach.com, and today we're going to determine which is better, the dumbbell squat or the barbell squat. So there's 5 things that I want to go through today on this video to help you decide which is better. All right, the first thing you want to do is you want to determine what the goal is for your client. So things are going to look different if you have like a mother of 3 who wants to lose some weight and get rid of maybe the baby weight versus a high-level athlete that needs to develop some really serious hip strength. Okay, so you know, if I had somebody like that athlete who needs to load some heavy weight, lift some real heavy weights, I need to load a barbell up, because a barbell squat you're going to be stronger and be able to lift more weight on. All right, and that's just one example, but really determining the goal is kind of the first thing. The second thing you want to do is look at the mobility, particularly at the shoulders, for the client performing it. Because if say that athlete had a postural distortion pattern where they're really tight in the anterior muscles in the pectoralis major and minor, and they're kind of taking on, you know, one of these forward rounded postures where in their mid-back muscles they lack the flexibility and the strength to open up the chest and hold that barbell and rack it on their shoulders properly, they're going to be into here, and they're going to probably strain the shoulders trying to get under that bar. They're going to have a rounded back, and it's just going to create a lot of problems, and that's really an injury waiting to happen. So an alternative for somebody like that would be using dumbbells, holding them up to the chest, because the forward pull of the dumbbells is going to help them keep their chest up, so they'll stay back a little bit more, and then they can hold that squat a lot easier. Okay. Plus, they're a little bit easier to deal with balance-wise and everything, doing them that way. So in that case, dumbbells might be a better alternative. All right. So the third thing you want to think about is what the core strength, particularly through their trunk and hip, looks like. So again, somebody who has poor abdominal and or hip strength, they're going to have a tough time supporting a back squat with a barbell, because when that bar is loaded up on the back, a lot of times what happens is they collapse, and they come down a little more like here rather than being up a little bit taller. Okay, so it's going to be harder for them to get their hips involved, and instead they're going to have a lot more strain on that low back when they collapse, because that back's going to try to overwork, and potentially they're going to aggravate their knees as well. So what might be a better alternative then, again, might be a dumbbell squat for somebody like that. Okay, the fourth thing you want to look at, particularly if this is for yourself, is spotting. And again, if you're going to train somebody heavy on a squat, you know, you want to have, if you're going to do a barbell squat, you want to have a spotter there, or you at least, you know, need a squat rack so you can rack the bar up on the pins. You want to have the rails inserted in the sides just in case if you get stuck at the bottom. You know, a spotter is needed for a heavy squat, barbell squat, I should say. Now, for a dumbbell squat, you avoid all the hassle of that. You can do them in free space. You don't need a spotter, so it's a little bit easier to do on that end. The fifth thing you want to think about is kind of the variations that you want to use. And again, it depends on what your client's ability is, what they can and can't do, what's appropriate for them. And with dumbbells, there's a little bit more versatility. So even taking an exercise like a deadlift, a barbell versus dumbbells, well, if I were going to have somebody with a barbell is going to be loaded in front of your body. So with that being in front of your body, it's going to require more strength from those mid-back muscles to lock those shoulder blades so you don't get pulled forward, right? And that's what happens a lot of time when some individuals they can't hold themselves back on their heels, they can't lock that mid-back in place, and they get pulled forward on their toes, they're rounding out, and again, that's an injury waiting to happen. So instead, what you do with dumbbells is you can have the person hold them at their sides, which is a lot more mechanically an advantage. You can pull those shoulder blades tighter, you can support that squat a lot easier. And again, depending on what you're trying to do, you know, with dumbbells, you're challenging a little more in terms of lateral stability from side to side. They gotta keep those dumbbells and their body straight and centered so that they don't get pulled from side to side. So that's another thing to consider. So the goal of the client, the mobility of the client, the trunk strength of the person, and whether or not you need a spotter, and also the variations of versatility. So as you can see, determining which one is the best really depends on at least those 5 criteria. And if there's other things that you consider in a process that you go through with your clients, I'd love to hear about it. So do me a favor and post a comment here on the blog and let me know. Or if there's other variations that you found that work really well, then I'd love to hear about that too. So give me your feedback here. I'd love to hear it. And I hope this helps you out. And until next time, this is Kevin Yates, functionaltrainingcoach.com, saying I will see you next time.